एवं तं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सह गणललिता श्रीविशाखानुतांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती नामिने श्रीवार्षभानवी देवे दायिताय कृपाब्धये कृष्णसम्बन्धविज्ञानदायिने प्रभवे नमः माधुरोज्ज्वलप्रेमाढ्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपानुगविरुद्धपसिद्धान्तद्वान्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्बरसाम्बोधे पादाम्बुजाय ते नमः नमो भक्ति विनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगवराय ते गौरवेर्भावभूमिस्त्वं निर्दिष्ट सज्जनप्रिय वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरवित्से नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमस्तुते जयतां सुरतो पङ्गोर्मन्दमतेर्गते मत्सर्वस्वपादाम्बोजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्याद्रिन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमाधः श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थौ श्रीमद्राधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेवो पृष्ठादिवे सेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमान् रासरसारम्भी वंशीवटतरस्थितः कर्षन्वेणु सुनिर्गोपीर्गोपीनाथः श्रीयत्सुनः तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Yes. So we'll start. I think we had completed till 46th verse in last class. Uh, Vyavasayatmika intelligence we discussed and Vedic Karma Kanda we discussed in the previous class last. Also we discussed about Nishkama Karma Yoga in the previous class. That is detached work without any attachment. So now in today's class we'll start with how to practice Nishkama Karma Yoga. Yes. So today we'll start with verse number 47 and we'll try to complete till maybe verse number 60 or 61. Uh, so how to practice Niskama Karma Yoga? Basically, today we'll be discussing two sections. One is this 47, how to practice Niskama Karma Yoga, and also we'll discuss about Sthita Prajna that we'll discuss today. So we'll start with verse number 47. So verse number 47, this particular three verses 47, 48, 49, how to practice Nishkama Karma Yoga. So in detail, Prabhupada also explains what is Nishkama Karma Yoga, how to work without attachment to results, and how to offer those results, if there are any, at the lotus of Krishna. And what, if we do that, if we perform this devotional service or Buddhi Yoga, what are its advantages, that we will discuss in the next verses after 49, 50, 51, and so on. So, verse number 47 discusses dutiful work with detachment to results, right? Work, but without any attachment to the results. So, the sloka is like this: Karmani, karmani evadikaraste, ma phaleshu tadachana, ma karma phala heturbur, mate sangastva karmani, right? So, translation is you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities and never be attached to not doing your duty. So when Arjuna is telling that I don't want to fight this battle, so Arjuna is a Kshatriya, so his duty is to fight, his prescribed duty is to fight the battle. right? So when he is declining to fight the battle because of various reasons, the six reasons that we discussed in the first chapter, loss of enjoyment, right? Fear of sinful reactions, compassion, and so on. So here Krishna is all negating them by telling that you have right to perform your prescribed duty, right? But you are not entitled to the fruits of the action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty, right? So here Arjuna was attached to not doing his duty, but Krishna is clearly telling that you have only right to perform the work of a Kshatriya, right? You should not be attached to the fruits, and don't think that you will be the cause of your results, and don't think that if you don't think that you can run away from the battle. That is what Krishna is telling here. Purport. Somebody can read the purport.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisance at your lotus feet.
Yes, Guruji. Please.
There are three considerations here: prescribed duties, capricious work, and inaction. Prescribed duties are activities enjoined in terms of one's acquired mode of material nature. Capricious work means action without the sanction of authority, and inaction means not performing one's prescribed duties. The Lord advised that Arjun not be inactive, but that he perform his prescribed duty without being attached to the result. One who is attached to the result of his work is also the cause of the action. Thus, he is the enjoyer or sufferer of the result of such actions. As far as prescribed duties are concerned, they can be fitted into three subdivisions, namely routine work, emergency work, and desired activities. Routine work performed as an obligation in terms of the scriptural injunctions without desire for result is action in the modes of goodness. Work with results become the cause of bondage. Therefore, such work is not auspicious. Everyone has his proprietary right in regards to such prescribed duties, but should act without attachment to the result. Such disinterest obligatory duties doubtlessly lead one to the path of liberation. Arjun was therefore advised by the Lord to fight as the matter of duty without attachment to the result. His non participation in the battle is another side of attachment. Such attachment never lead one to the path of salvation. Any attachment, positive or negative, is cause for bondage. Inaction in sinful. Therefore, fighting as a matter of duty was the only auspicious path of salvation for Arjun.
Yeah, so fighting as a matter of duty was the only auspicious path for salvation for Arjuna. So some important points here in the purport. You can write there, this prescribed duties is called as karma. Prescribed duties is karma, that are activities enjoined in terms of one's acquired modes of material nature. Capricious work is vikarma, or basically sinful activities. And akarma means not performing one's prescribed duties. So here these three things are mentioned there. Sanskrit words are here. Prescribed duties means karma, capricious work means vikarma, and akarma means inaction or not performing one's prescribed duties, right? And here this routine work that is mentioned in the second paragraph, you see, routine work is basically nitya karma, and that can be auspicious or inauspicious. Emergency work and desired activities are called as kama karma. Kama karma. So these are the Sanskrit words for these different terms that Prabhupada is defining here in this particular purport. Prescribed duties means karma, capricious work means vikarma, and akarma means inaction or the not performing one's prescribed duties. Routine work is called as nitya karma. Emergency work, uh, as such, there is no this thing there. Desired activities is kama karma. Yes. So here now, Prabhupada, if you see, there is an important point that Prabhupada mentions here. Routine work performed as an obligation in terms of the scriptural injunctions without desire for results is action in the mode of goodness, right? So even when we are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we should not be attached to the results that, yes, we have to desire that my heart should get cleansed. But when we are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, if we want to come to the mode of goodness, then we should continue chanting whether we see the result or not, because ultimately that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, our spiritual master, and Lord Krishna wants, that we, our spiritual master has given us instruction to chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra every day, right? So we chant in the mode of goodness, means what? We chant, but we are not attached to the results, that whether my lust is going on, whether my lust is decreasing, whether my pride, arrogance, everything is decreasing or not. Sometimes that may not happen immediately. It may take lifetimes. It may take at least this entire lifetime, so that the heart completely gets cleansed, right? So even if we see that there is nothing happening, I'm chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but nothing is happening. I am saying the if even if I see that I am the same as I was when I came in at the beginning of Krishna consciousness, still we continue chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because it is a transcendental activity. It is directly connected to the soul. We may understand, we may not understand, but if we continue chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, gradually, Cheto Darpana Marjana, the heart will get cleansed, and eventually we will be seeing the arising of Krishna Prema in our heart, because this is a transcendental process which is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Krishna, and a bona fide Acharya like Srila Prabhupada and our own spiritual masters have given us this activity. So therefore, devotional service should be performed without any desire for results, without being attached to the results, right? If we are attached to the results, then becomes a cause of bondage, right? So we should be attached to the duty that we are given, but we should not be attached to the results, right? Yeah. So here some more points. This important verse This important verse in which the Lord chooses to instruct Arjuna to perform Nishkama Karma Yoga begins Karmani Evadikaraste. Arjuna's adhikar, his personal eligibility is eva, certainly, for karma. So what is Arjuna's eligibility? Certainly his eligibility is for karma. His eligibility is not for results. While working, however, he should not create further reactions by desiring to enjoy the fruits of his work. Right? So very important point. While we are doing any kind of devotional service, chanting, reading, hearing, or rendering some service to some Vaishnavas, what we should do while we are doing that particular activity of devotional service, we should not create further reactions by desiring to enjoy the fruits of the work. If we want to desire to enjoy the fruits of the work, we create further reactions. Already from so many millions of lifetimes, already there are so many reactions that have been created because of performing fruitive activities, either performing karma, vikarma, or akarma in the previous lifetimes. So in this lifetime at least, we should perform the prescribed duties under the instruction of the spiritual master, not independently, but under the instruction of spiritual master. But even while performing those duties, we should not be attached to the results. We should not desire to enjoy the fruits of the work. Otherwise, we'll create further reactions. That is very important point. The concept of duty, dispassionate, proper actions whose performance is its own reward. So, what is the reward of whatever service we are rendering? The performance. We are doing this devotional service. We are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We are getting an opportunity to serve Vaishnavas. We are getting an opportunity to read Bhagavad Gita. This itself is the result. This itself is the reward, right? So we do not have to desire any other reward other than this. Chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is already a reward of whatever you have performed. Either it is mercifully given by some Vaishnava or some Sukruti we have performed in the previous lifetimes, because of which we are getting an opportunity to render devotional service. So that itself is a reward, right? So we have to understand this, that itself is a reward. We should not hanker for any other result other than this. If we just continue to render this devotional service, if we continue to perform this devotional service throughout our entire life, right, what will happen? Our success is guaranteed in Krishna consciousness. So therefore, this point is very, very important, because results may come, results may not come, right? So just chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, every day attending Bhagavatam class, everyday reading, getting an opportunity to read Bhagavatam, the five potent forms of devotional service, right? That is chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, sadhu sangha, and then reading or hearing of Bhagavatam class, getting an opportunity to stay in a holy place, right? So these five potent forms of devotional service itself is a result that we are getting of our past activity. So we should not hanker for any other result other than this. And if we keep on continue to rendering these five activities or whatever activities of devotional service, it will surely help us in perfecting our lives, right? So the concept of duty, dispassionate, proper actions whose performance in its own is its own reward is becoming increasingly foreign to modern society, right? So this is very important. This particular concept that this devotional service itself is a reward, we many times forget, and therefore we hanker for many other things. I should get respect from the devotee community. I should get some post position from the devotee community. I should get some extra privileges from the devotee community, right? Janmashtami pass, or if we give some donation, then we expect some gifts, right? So that is for outside people. That is for not those who are already very sincerely practicing Krishna consciousness. What happens is, Prabhupada always gives a story of this story. I think Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada tells, or Prabhupada tells, wherein he tells that a very old man, what he does is, he actually, there are children playing in the children are playing some game, either cricket or something, in the playground. And now it is very disturbing to the person, old man who is just besides the playground, and they are creating a lot of noise, and they are creating a lot of havoc, they are creating a lot of chaos there, and because of which he is not able to do his duties properly, he is getting disturbed. So what he thinks, how to now, what is that, how to basically discourage these boys from playing this cricket match. So what he does is, next day he goes and he tells that, I'll give you 10 rupees for playing this cricket match. Earlier they were doing it out of fun, and earlier there was no expectation that somebody will pay us something. So now what he does is, he pays to every boy 10 rupees, and he tells that if you play every day, then I'll pay you 10 rupees. Now this, somebody may think that, array, he wants them to stop, and now he's paying them to play cricket. So now first day he does like that, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, 7 days. So 10 days he pays like this, 10 rupees to each cricketer or cricket boy for playing cricket. On the 11th day, so earlier these boys were never playing cricket because of somebody was paying them. There was no expectation, right? So they were playing it just for fun, and they were playing it without any expectation. But as soon as somebody started paying them, so the expectation went on increasing, and day by day they're expecting that next day when they came, array, this person is not visible. But the person came and paid them 10 rupees. So like this, what happened is 10 days already is regularly paying. On the 11th day, they saw that the person is not there. And even if the person has come, they asked, where is our 10 rupees? You are not paying us. So the man told that, no, I cannot pay you. I cannot pay you from now on. If you want to play, you can play, continue playing, or you can leave. So when the students told that, if you're not paying, what is the use of playing cricket? We will leave. We will not play. We will not continue playing. Like this, they stopped playing cricket. So the old man could perform whatever he wanted, that they stop playing cricket. So that is how he induced them to stop playing cricket. So similarly in devotional service, right, the we may be rendering some service, like we are giving some donation, and out of some what is that out of gratitude, the temple may give some gifts, or temple may give some post position. Temple may, because of your rendering service, the temple may give some benefits, right, out of gratitude. But we should understand that I should not be searching for these things in devotional service. I should just be happy rendering the devotional service, just like those boys, right? Earlier they were playing out of fun, right? So similarly, we should render devotional service out of out of a duty, out of gratitude, that I was not qualified to render devotional service, not qualified to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I have been given an opportunity, so let me do it without any expectation, right? So that is a right frame of consciousness to perform devotional service. But as soon as the boys started getting some reward, and when it was not rewarded, what they told, will stop this. Similarly, in your devotional service also, many times you have seen that somebody who has done very nice devotional service, and he may be rewarded with some post, position, respect, man, samman, right? And as soon as he is not given that, as soon as the temple or the authorities stop giving him those benefits, then what happens is, that person will tell that, why should I ever do this devotional service? Better I will go outside and work, or better I will use my time in sense gratification. So this is how we will lose the benefit, or we will lose this most important human form of life, which is given actually for self-realization, but out of petty attachments like post, position, some benefits that we receive from temple. Because of these petty attachments, what may happen is we may go in a wrong direction. Therefore, it is important to understand this devotional service itself is a reward. Nothing else is required. Yeah. So it's very important to understand what Prabhupada is speaking here, what Krishna is speaking, that one has to work without any attachment to the results, no, without any expectations. So Krishna explains the proper consciousness in which to work in the following sloka. So we'll move on to text 48. Yoga is equanimity. There is one more story in this regard which I was explaining. One is this which Prabhupada explains. Another one is that is explained by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. That is of Balam rice, right? There is a worker who there is a worker. Basically, he is a this there is zamindar. Zamindar wants somebody for cultivating land. So he brings somebody from a village for cultivating, taking care of his land, cultivating his land, but now he is not so enthusiastic to do that activity, right? So what the zamindar does is he tells that if you do your work very nicely, do this field work or the farming work very nicely, then I will feed with you balam rice. Balam rice means basically best of the rice with ghee. Balam rice, he tells that I will feed you balam rice with ghee, right? So then the zamindar starts feeding him balam rice with ghee, and the worker starts doing it very nicely, very nicely, very nicely. He does his activity. But as soon as the zamindar stops giving balam rice with ghee, what that worker does is he tells that if you're not giving me balam rice with ghee, then what is the need of performing this particular activity? I'll go back to my village. So similarly, in our devotional service also, initially when we are not enthusiastic, we don't want to, we are not aware of the importance of rendering devotional service. We are not aware of the importance of human form of life and why the aim of human form of life is to render devotional service to the Lord. I am a servant of Krishna. I should render pure devotional service to the Lord. When we do not know this, so our whoever has brought us in Krishna consciousness, or our superior authorities, our seniors, what they do is they give us some they may give us some what is that some allurements, some carrots, that if you do this then you will get this, if you do this you will get this, if you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra you will become you will be all your difficulties that you're facing in your life will go away, you may get a job, or say if somebody is very distressed, all your difficulties will be resolved, right? Your heart will get cleansed. So something like this sugar some benefits will be shown initially for the person who is unaware, who is ignorant of the importance of devotional service, right? So slowly he starts practicing. Now after some times expected that he starts performing devotional service without any expectation or not for any fruitive results, right? That is what is expected from a seasoned sadhaka. If somebody is chanting for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, it is expected that now he has understood the importance of devotional service. He has understood that I have to perform devotional service not for any material results, but that will please Krishna. That is for my own benefit, and I'll ultimately go back to Godhead. So one who is actually already is practicing for many years, now he should not perform this devotional service for some balam rice or some for reward from the Lord or from the devotees, right? He does it for his own purification. He does it for as a matter of duty, understanding that this human form of life is meant only for this. Human form of life is meant for chanting Hare Krishna, meant for reading Bhagavatam, meant for serving Vaishnavas. And by this, my life will be perfected and I will go back to Godhead. Right? So once somebody is already practicing for many years, he should not expect that to become enthusiastic in devotional service, there should be some results, right? Somebody should pay me some respect. Oh, you're chanting Hare Krishna mantra for so many years, right? So I respect you. Respect is man, samman, post, position, all these things, some special privileges. I am chanting 16 rounds from 20 years. I have been initiated from 20 years, right? So all my members of the family are initiated. So some kind of benefit or privileges should be given to me as a member of ISKCON from 20 years. No, right? So if we expect some benefits, then that is not pure devotional service. Then we are still that small kids who are playing cricket for some reward. We are still that ignorant farmer who is doing the activity for some balam rice, right? So we should become free from all these balam rice kind of expectations or reward kind of expectations, and we should render devotional service just for pleasing Krishna, understanding that this is what is the aim of my life. Nate viduswartha gatim hi Vishnu. right? My only smartha is pleasure of Vishnu, pleasure of Krishna, and that is only thing that will actually please me also. If I actually want to please me, right, I am a part and parcel of Krishna, right? So how can I actually benefit myself? Yatataror nishesha that is by watering the root of the tree. What will happen is all the parts and all the leaf, branches, everything of the tree automatically gets watered, right? No need to water each leaf, each branch separately. So by watering the root of the tree, automatically every part of the tree receives its water. Similarly, I being a part and parcel of Krishna, I can become happy, I can become satisfied when Krishna is satisfied, because he is the root of the entire creation. He is my root also, right? So therefore, just by feeding food to the stomach, all the parts receive strength. Similarly, I can become satisfied, I can become happy when Krishna is pleased, when my Guru is pleased, right? Without this, whatever I try in my life, I will always be unsatisfied, I will always be dissatisfied, I will always be unhappy. So we have to understand this, and in this mood, without being attached to the results, without having any expectation in devotional service, if we do, then automatically we will become happy, we will become satisfied. So this is a proper consciousness, and that is what Krishna is further explaining in these verses. Text 48. Yoga is equanimity. Yogastha kur karmani sangam tektva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna. Abandon all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. So, what Krishna is telling to Arjuna is very important in life. Krishna is telling that perform your duty equipoised means whether there is high, means you are very successful in your life, or everything in your life is going according to expectation, right? That is one thing, high. And low. Low means everything is going against your will. You want something to happen, right? You want a good job, you want your family members to cooperate, you want good source of income, you want a good house, everybody is cooperating with you. This is what we want. But sometimes things may go opposite also, right? So whether it is in positive things or in negative things, whether everything is going on nicely or everything is going in opposite direction, right? In both the situations, one should be equipoised. Perform your duty equipoised. That is what Krishna is telling. And abandoning all attachment to success or failure, such equanimity is called as yoga. So one thing is we should perform our duty no matter what happens in a equipoised manner and without attachment to success or failure, right? That is what will lead us to success. Yes, somebody can read purport.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, true.
Krishna tells Arjuna that he should act in yoga. And what is the yoga? What is that yoga? Yoga means concentrate the mind upon the supreme by controlling the ever disturbing senses. And who is the supreme? The supreme is the Lord. And because he himself is telling Arjuna to fight, Arjuna has nothing to do with the results of the fight, and gain or victory or Krishna's concern. Arjuna is simply advised to act according to the dictation of Krishna. The following the following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga, and this is practiced in the process called Krishna consciousness. By Krishna conscious only can one can give one only can one give up the sense of proprietorship. One has to become the servant of Krishna or the servant of Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 13.80. That is the right way or to discharge the duty in Krishna consciousness, which alone can help one to act in yoga. Arjuna is a Kshatriya, and as such he is practicing in the Varnashrama Dharma institution. It is said in the Vishnu Purana that in the Varnashrama Dharma, the whole aim is to satisfy Vishnu. No one should satisfy himself, and as as is the rule in the material world, but one should satisfy Krishna. So unless one satisfies Krishna, one cannot correctly observe the principles of Varnashrama Dharma. Indirectly, Arjuna was advised to act as Krishna told him. When one works and is unattached to the fruits of such work, he is performing karma yoga. Detachment is then perfected. When he offers the fruits of his work
Hare
to
Krishna.
Krishna, therefore Krishna tells Arjuna not to renounce work, but
Hare
to
Krishna, am I
renounce
audible?
the fruit. Yes, Prabhuji. But to renounce the fruits of work. The next works should be noted because it is connected to the question Arjuna will ask Krishna at the opening of the chapter 3. Prabhuji, I completed Prabhuji for portrait.
Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji, you are audible. Yes, Prabhuji, you are audible.
Hare Krishna, am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji, you are audible.
Yes, Prabhu.
Am I audible now? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes,
Yes,
Prabhuji, you are
Prabhu.
audible.
आवाज ही नहीं आ रही, क्या हो गया? I'll just disconnect. I think Abhishek Bro, am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji, you are audible.
Somebody else can reply. I'm not able to hear his voice.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji,
Yes, you are
Prabhu-
audible, Ji. Maybe you are not hearing us.
Hare Krishna. Saurabh Bro,
Krishna.
Satya Bro.
Audible.
But I am not able to hear your voice.
Rejoin, Prabhu. You can rejoin. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Satya
Hare,
Prabhu.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Yes, Prabhu, you are audible now. But
I'll just disconnect and I'll join back. That will be best, I feel.
Okay, Prabhuji.
he will not be able to hear you. But you are saying okay.
Hare Krishna, Satya Prabhu.
आप 2 क्लास सुन रहे क्या अभिषेक प्रभु?
आज एक डिवोटी प्ले किया है, वो अमरेंद्र प्रभु का लेक्चर सुन रहा है. मैं भक्ति शास्त्री का लेक्चर.
Yes. So we'll continue.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes. So I think we read this particular thing, verse number 48. We'll continue with verse number 49, wherein, so for verse number 48, verse number 47, Krishna spoke about dutiful work with detachment to results. This is what we saw. Verse number 48, yoga is equanimity. And verse number 49, now we'll see how Krishna is telling to reject all abominable actions. So text number 49. दूरेण हि आवरं कर्म बुद्धियोगा धनंजय बुद्धौ शरणमन्विच्छ कृपणा फलहेतव. Translation: O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender to the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of the work are misers. Yes, purport.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, bro.
One who has actually come to understand one's constitutional position as an eternal servitor of the Lord gives up all engagement save working in Krishna consciousness. As already explained, Buddhi Yoga means transcendental loving service to the Lord. such a devotional service is the right course of action for the living entity. Only misers desires to enjoy the fruit of their own work, just to be further entangled in material bondage. Except for work in Krishna consciousness, all activities are abominable because they continually blind the worker to the cycle of birth and death. One should therefore never desire to be the cause of work. Everything should be done in Krishna consciousness for the satisfaction of Krishna. Misers do not know how to utilize the assets of riches when they acquire by good fortune or by hard labor. One should spend all energies working in Krishna consciousness, and that will make one's life successful. Like misers, unfortunate persons do not employ their human energy in the service of the Lord.
Yeah. So one important point that Prabhupada, if you see now, Krishna is saying that keep all abominable activities far distant for devotional service. So now here Prabhupada is clearly telling that except for working Krishna consciousness, all activities are abominable. So as a devotee, what we are supposed to do is we are supposed to do only Krishna conscious activities. And how that is possible? That is possible by whatever duties we are performing or whatever activities we are doing, we offer the results of that work to Krishna. So that is how we can turn every activity into Krishna conscious activity, right? And that's how we can follow what Krishna is telling, that stay away from all abominable activities by devotional service. And one more important point that Prabhupada is mentioning here is only misers desire to enjoy the fruit of their work. Now, if we see our own life, most of the times, always we are attached to the fruits. We always, Radhesham tells the new FM channel, that is WIIFM. This is a new FM channel. What does it mean? What is in it for me, right? So any activity we want to do, this first question will come into mind. What is in it for me? Why I should do this particular activity? Chant Hare Krishna mantra. Why? Right? Do some service to Vaishnavas. Why? Right? Give some donation to temple. Why? Come to temple. Why? Hear class. Why? What is there in it for me? Right? If there is something, okay, you give donation to temple, then your name will be called in the morning on Radhashtami day, right? That this person has given such and such donation, or this particular counselor group has given so much donation, right? So we render some devotional service not for what is in it for me. We render devotional service only for the pleasure of Krishna. If we are not in that particular consciousness, then what will happen is only misers desire to enjoy the fruit of their work just to further entangle in material bondage. So already we are entangled in material bondage, and because of that we are suffering so much in this world, right? And again, if we want to enjoy the fruit of our work, what will happen is it will create further bondage, and instead of going back home, back to Godhead, will remain in the material world. So for petty results, now consider that I was giving example of that children playing cricket, right? So for a elderly man, 10 rupees is nothing, right? But children are not desiring to play just for the 10 rupees. Similarly, for the zamindar, if he is happy, he can give. If consider that he has 100 acres of land, he can give 1 acre of land to that particular person. Balam rice is nothing for the zamindar. So similarly, when we are on the lower platforms of passion and ignorance, very petty things become seem very, very valuable, seem very, very attractive, lucrative, right? But actually, for a person who is advanced in Krishna consciousness, can understand that this person is attached to very, very petty things, right? Which are in the modes of passion and ignorance. So therefore, we should always be under guidance of somebody who is advanced, so that he will show us actually what is the path, or he will show us that we are actually attached to very small things, and what we are given by Srila Prabhupada is something very great, right? So understanding that what we are getting from Srila Prabhupada, we should abandon our attachments to petty material attachments or petty material fruitive results, so that we can rise higher in our consciousness and go back home, back to Godhead, right? So therefore, this is very important to understand this. And also in all this confusion, I just wanted to explain this point in the previous purport, that here Arjuna has nothing to do with the results of the fight. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. Arjuna is simply advised to act according to the dictation of Krishna, right? So Similarly, whether I will achieve a success in Krishna consciousness, whether I will go back home back to Godhead or not, these are all gain or victory, right? Whether I will be victorious, whether my heart will be 100% purified or not, whether I will go back home back to Godhead or not, right? So these are all whose concern? Krishna's concern, because from millions and millions of lifetimes I've been suffering in this world, right? So if you consider that from 100 millions of lifetimes I have been enjoying this material world, right? So if I have to go back home back to Godhead on my own strength, so for at least 100 millions of lifetimes I have to perform devotional service, right? 100, I have done abominable activities for 100 lifetimes in this particular material world. So same thing I have to do for devotional service to go back home back to Godhead. So on my own strength, if I have to perform devotional service, it will take a lot of time. So therefore, it's not my qualification, it's not my strength that I will go back and back to Godhead either in this life, in the next life, or next to next life. So therefore, I should not be concerned whether I am going back home back to Godhead or not, because it is not my concern. It is not in my hand, because it will take a lot of lifetimes if I was a controller to do this, right? So it is whose concern, right? It is Krishna's concern. Gain or victory is Krishna's concern. What we are advised by Krishna, Arjuna is simply advised to act according to the dictation of Krishna, or to act according to the dictation of the Guru, right? So my only concern should be to perform the duty very nicely and to please Krishna. And Krishna is pleased, he will take me back home back to God in this lifetime. He will purify my heart in this lifetime. If Krishna is not pleased, then maybe I may have to again come back and again continue devotional service. So therefore, what we should be attached is, we should be attached to performing devotional service. We should not be attached to
Hearing some background noise, Prabhuji. Hearing some background noise, Prabhuji. Please mute that Mataji, Prabhuji. Hearing like so much disturbance we are getting in hearing, Prabhuji.
Vijay Prabhu, can you mute that Mataji?
Manjari Mataji.
You mute from your side. You are the host. Yes, you are the host. Please mute.
Satyavat,
Yes, Prabhu. I got disconnected now, so my host control got transferred to Vijay Prabhu. One second, Prabhu. Vijay Prabhu, can you mute Manjari Mataji? Yes, now okay.
Yeah. So what I was explaining is the gain or victory is Krishna's concern. We are just advised to act according to the dictation of Krishna. So that is what we discussed. So next we'll move on to verse number. This last one point was remaining. What fruits does one attain who tries to enjoy the results of his work, right? So again, the same point here also is extending that if we want to enjoy the results of the work, right? So what will attain? What fruits will attain? Only birth and death, right? Krishna criticizes fruitive desires and glorifies Buddhi Yoga, which Srila Prabhupada translates as devotional service. The living entity should work hard to escape suffering, right? Work hard to escape suffering, and he should not become further entangled in it. Buddhi Yoga liberates one, and the effects of its practice are described as follows. So therefore, what we should do is, we should want to work hard to escape suffering, not to get again and again entangled by wanting to enjoy the results of the work, right? So therefore, we should become intelligent, and that intelligence will come as we, under the guidance of devotees, we keep on performing devotional service, and we come gradually, we rise above from the modes of passion and ignorance to the mode of goodness, and eventually to the mode of transcendental goodness. So this should be our aim, that we perform devotional service to please Krishna, and also gradually try to elevate ourselves to the modes of passion and ignorance to the modes of goodness. That's how the intelligence will develop to understand all these things, right? So very important. Yes. So now, if verses 47, 48, 49, we discussed what is Buddhi Yoga or performance or Niskama Karma Yoga. Now, from 50, Krishna explains the benefits of acting in Buddhi Yoga, right? So, benefits in 50, 51, 52, 53, we'll see what are the benefits. So, the first benefit is, in verse number 50, is no reactions, right? If we perform Buddhi Yoga, then there will be neither good reaction, neither bad reaction. And because of these reactions only, Either due to good reaction, we become entangled in this material world, or due to bad reactions, we remain entangled in this material world, right? So if there is good reaction, if there are good results, or if there is some we perform punya, we get good results, we are elevated, still we are entangled. We perform some papa, we get bad reactions, we go down into the material world, go to the path, that is Narakiya planets, right? Narakaloka. So that still we remain in the material world. So there is whether happiness or distress, or the results, the reactions, still we remain entangled in this material world. Therefore, we should become free from all these reactions, and that is how. And how that is possible? Krishna is telling by performance of Buddhi Yoga or by performance of Nishkama Karma Yoga, we become free of reactions. And that is what Krishna is telling in this particular verse. Right? Buddhi Yukto Jahatiha Obe Sukrita Duskrute Tasmad Yoga Yojvasya Yoga Karma Sukaushalam. A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. Right? So, man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. Purport, somebody can read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, shall I read?
Yes.
Since time immemorial, each living entity has accumulated the various reactions of his good and bad work. As such, he is continuously ignorant of his real constitutional position. One's ignorance can be removed by the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, which teaches one to surrender unto Lord Shri Krishna in all respects and become liberated from the chained victimization of action and reaction, birth after birth. Arjuna is therefore advised to act in Krishna consciousness, the purifying process of resultant action.
Yes. Can you continue this, Prabhuji? These two paragraphs?
The art of work is to act in such a way that we become free from both good and bad reactions. Arjuna fears the sinful reactions from killing his kinsmen, but dutiful detached work in knowledge will protect him from the fruits stemming from his activities. We must work, but we should be detached from the results. Jnani's desire to become free of reactions by renouncing all activities. The same effect can be more easily achieved by acting with detachment. For example, mercury is poisonous, but in the hands of an Ayurvedic doctor, mercury becomes a powerful medicine. Similarly, while regular attached work entangles the soul in the material world, detached, dutiful work, performed in knowledge and aimed at pleasing the Supreme, leads him to liberation. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So what Arjuna was telling that okay, by killing these relatives, I'll become I'll attract the sinful reactions. So that may be true in the ordinary course of activities, but here when he is standing in front of Krishna, right, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and because he is on the side of Dharma, when Krishna is telling him to kill his relatives, right, so that what will happen is he is actually will not attract any sinful reactions. Just like a army officer when he is killing many people on the battlefield because he is killing on the authority of the government, so he will be awarded, right, because he is doing it under instruction, right? So because of that what will happen is there will be no punishment, awarded to him because he is doing it under the authority of the government, right? But as soon as he comes out and without any authority, without any sanctions, if he starts killing people, then what will happen? He will be put into jail. So similarly, whether a particular activity will attract reaction or not, will attract good reaction, bad reaction, or whatever, right? It all depends on whether I'm instructed to do that particular activity or not. If I'm instructed, if there is blessings of Krishna, blessings of Guru, then what will happen is, right? Even if it may be an abominable activity like killing a person, right? But if it is under instruction, what will happen is we will be protected, right? So therefore, without attachment to good reaction, bad reaction, if we keep on performing whatever we are told by our superiors, by Prabhupada, by our spiritual master, whatever is by according to the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, Sadhu Guru Shastra, right? So then what will happen is it is for sure that success for a practitioner is very much sure, is very much 100% guaranteed in this particular lifetime, right? So therefore, under
Prabhuji, you are not audible.
Yes. I got disconnected. We will continue. Devotees are requested to please unmute yourself. Yeah, Deepika Mataji, please mute yourself. Yeah. Yes. So we are moving to the next verse. We saw the 50th verse that there are no reactions for a person who performs devotional service or buddhi yoga. Now we move on to the next verse. The 51st verse, no birth death cycle, right? So 51st verse, कर्मजं बुद्धि युक्ता हि फलं त्यक्त्वा मनीषिणः जन्म बंध विनिर्मुक्ता पदम गच्छन्ति अनामयम्. So, translation: by thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries. Right? So, in the 51st verse, what Krishna is telling is the first benefit of performing Buddhi Yoga was no reactions, becoming free from all reactions. Second is no birth death cycle. Right? So, purport, somebody can read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, may I? The liberated living entities belong to that place where there are no material miseries. The Bhagavatam 10.14.58 says, Samashritam ye padapallavaplavam mahatpadam punyayasho murare bhavambodhirvatsapadam param padam yat vipadam natisham. For one who has accepted the boat of lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is famous as Mukunda, or the giver of mukti. The ocean of the material world is like a water contained in a calf's footprint. Param Padam, or the place where there are no material miseries, or Vaikuntha, is his goal, not the place where there is danger in every step of life. Owing to ignorance, one does not know that this material world is a miserable place where there are dangers at every step. Out of ignorance only, less intelligent person try to adjust to the situation by fruitive activities, thinking that the resultant actions will make them happy. They do not know that no kind of material body anywhere within this universe can give life without miseries. The miseries of life, namely birth, death, old age, and disease, are present everywhere within the material world. But one who understands his real constitutional position as the eternal servitor of the Lord and thus knows the position of the personality of Godhead engages himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Consequently, he becomes qualified to enter into the Vaikuntha planets, where there is neither material, miserable life nor the influence of time and death. To know one's stronger constitutional position means to know also the sublime position of the Lord. One who wrongly thinks that the living entity's position and the Lord's position are on the same level is to be understood to be in a darkness and therefore unable to engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord. He becomes a Lord himself and thus paves the way of the repetition of birth and death. But one who understanding that his position is to serve, transfer himself to the service of the Lord, at once becomes eligible for Vaikuntha Loka. Service for the cause of Lord is called Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, or in plain words, devotional service to the Lord.
Yes. So understanding the miserable things in this material world, that this world is a miserable place, right? Is only fit for suffering. One understands his miserable position. One understands the position of the Lord, and one engages in the service of the Lord. Right. That's how he becomes eligible to go back to Godhead. Yes. Read this colored lines, Mataji. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that detached work leads to realized knowledge of the soul, right? When one thus becomes self-realized, he can gradually become blessed with knowledge of the Lord and can surrender to him. Such surrender frees him from the material world, and after liberation, he becomes eligible to attain Vaikuntha. This progression is known as Yoga Ladder. The Yoga Ladder is detailed in the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. It is in detail we will be studying in 6th chapter, the actual Yoga Ladder. So when we do work with a detached spirit, that will give us realized knowledge, and one becomes self-realized. There is knowledge, and with that knowledge, right, one surrenders, right. one understands that Vasudeva Sarvamitim Sa Mahatma Durlabha, and when understands that the Lord is the end all and be all, and he surrenders, right? So when he surrenders, such surrender frees him from the material world, and after liberation he becomes eligible to enter Vaikuntha. So this progression is known as Yoga ladder. So the third benefit of performing Buddhi Yoga is indifference to Vedas, right? So yadate moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavasya shrutasya cha. So there are many things that are mentioned in the Vedas, fruitive activities, going to Swarga planets, for that performance of so many things, right? Worshipping of demigods, and so many things that we need to do for going to Swarga planets, right? Karmakand. There are many karmakand rituals that many people do, right? But as a devotee, we don't do it with that particular consciousness. So we need not do all those rituals which a karmakanda person does. So that is what Krishna is telling. That is, by performance of Buddhi Yoga, we become indifferent to Vedas. Translation: when your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. Right? Yes. Purport? Please, somebody can read the purport.
There are many good examples in the lives of the great devotee of the Lord, of those who become indifferent to the rituals of the Vedas simply by the devotional service to the Lord. When a person factually understands Krishna and his relationship with Krishna, he naturally becomes completely indifferent in the rituals of fruitive activities. Even though an experienced Brahmana, Sri Madhavan Puri, a great devotee and acharya in the line of the devotee, say, Sandhya Vandana Bhadram Astu Bhavto Bho Sna Tubhyam Namo Bho Deva Pitrascha Tarpana Vidhav Na Kasama Ka Mayatam.
Yatra kwapi nishadya yadava kulotamasya kamsadvishah smaram agam harami tad alam manye ki manye nami. Please read the translation too.
O my prayers 3 times a day, all glory to you. O bathing, I offer my obeisance unto you. O demigod of forefather, please excuse for my inability to offer you my respect. Now, whether I sit, I can remember the great descendant of the Yadu dynasty, Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa, and thereby I can free myself from all sinful bondage. I think this is sufficient for me. The Vedic rites and rituals are important for neophytes, comprehending all kinds of prayer 3 times a day, taking a bath early in the morning, offering respects to the forefather, etc. But when one is fully in Krishna consciousness and engaged in his transcendental loving service, one becomes indifferent to all these regulative principles because he has already attained perfection. If one can reach the platform of understanding by service to the Supreme Lord Krishna, he has no longer to execute different types of penance and sacrifice as recommended in revealed scripture. And similarly, if one has not to understand that the purpose of Veda is to reach Krishna and simply engage in the ritual etc., then he is usually wasting time in such engagement. Person in Krishna consciousness transcend the limits of Sabda Brahma or the range of Vedas and Upanishada. How we attain fruity benefits is described.
One minute. So basically, we should understand that this where Krishna is telling this particular thing is for those who are actually Krishna conscious. Like for example, here if you see what Madhavendra Puri is saying, that now wherever I sit, I can remember the great descendant of the Yadu dynasty, right? The enemy of Kamsa, and thereby I can free myself from all sinful bondage. I think this is sufficient for me, right? So we are not on this particular platform that wherever I sit, I am able to remember Krishna, right? So therefore, performing whatever, like Sandhya Vandana 3 times a day, remembering the spiritual master 3 times a day. If somebody is Brahman initiated, he does the Gayatri 3 times a day, like getting up early in the morning, taking bath, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So whatever activities are prescribed for a human being, or as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or as a Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, or Sannyasi, we are supposed to do. But as soon as we become fully Krishna conscious, or the consciousness that Madhavendra Puri is prescribing here, then even if we do not perform the prescribed duties, right, of that particular varna and ashrama, then we will not be entangled. Otherwise, as long as we are not on that level, then if a grahastha is there, then you consider that we are going somewhere outside, and if somebody is begging alms from us, somebody is coming and begging alms, if we do not give him the at least something, then what will happen is our heart will become hard. So therefore, while we are going outside and somebody is begging, and if we do not give him charity, right? I have heard that our spiritual master tells that if you do not consider that you are going outside, please always carry some prasadam. If you are not carrying prasadam, if somebody is begging for you, then at least you should give him at least some coins, so that you perform your duty as a grahastha, right? Otherwise, our heart will become hard. If somebody is coming and begging in front of us and we are not giving, then our heart will become hard. So therefore, understanding that what are my duties as a grahastha, what are my duties as a brahmachari, what are my duties as a vanaprastha and sannyasa is very, very important. And once we become liberated, once we are already in fully Krishna consciousness, then those, whether we perform those duties or not, that becomes immaterial. So therefore, we also have to understand what is our level actually, and accordingly live with that consciousness. Yes. Continue, Prabhuji, with the last 2 paragraphs.
How we attain fruitive benefits is described in the Karma Kand section of the Vedas. Krishna has compared it to a dense forest of material illusion. Arjuna is preoccupied with a fruitive mentality. He thinks that happiness is impossible to obtain and misery is certain if he perform his duty of fighting. Krishna tell him, however, that by fighting with buddhi, he will achieve fixed intelligence and become indifferent to happiness and distress. In the next verse, Krishna further describes the indifferent to Vedic rituals required to achieve the true Vedic goals.
Yeah. So lastly, Vyavasayatmaka Buddhi or Achala Buddhi, right? Krishna tells that we can become fixed in intelligence by performance of Buddhi Yoga, and we can attain Samadhi. Shruti Vipratipanna te yada stashyati nischala samadhavachala buddhis tada yogam avapsyasi. When your mind is no longer disturbed with the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. This is the translation. Yes, purport. Please read the purport, somebody.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah, this one.
Yes. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. To say that one is in Samadhi is to say that one has fully realized Krishna consciousness. That is, one in full Samadhi has realized Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. The highest perfection of self-realization is to understand that one is eternally the servitor of Krishna, and that one's only business is to discharge one's duties in Krishna consciousness. A Krishna conscious person or unflinching devotee of the Lord should not be disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, nor be engaged in the fruitive activities for promotion to the heavenly kingdom. In Krishna consciousness, one comes directly into communion with Krishna, and thus all directions from Krishna may be understood in that transcendental state. One is sure to achieve results by such activities and attain conclusive knowledge. One has only to carry out the orders of Krishna or his representative, the spiritual master. Arjuna must transcend fruitive desires and become fixed in Buddhi Yoga to achieve success. Desires to perform the prescribed Vedic duties, this sacrifice, that ritual must no longer disturb the candidate attempting to attain Samadhi consciousness that is fixed on the Supreme. But will a devotee who neglects Vedic verses be lacking instructions? Srila Prabhupada's purport describes describes the instructing that occurs on different levels of Buddhi Yoga. In Krishna consciousness, one comes directly into communion with Krishna, and thus all the directions from Krishna may be understood in that transcendental state. One is sure to achieve results by such activities and attain conclusive knowledge. One has only to carry out the orders of Krishna or his representative, the spiritual master. Krishna has, for the time being, finished describing Buddhi Yoga. Arjuna now asks four questions in the text 54 about divine consciousness that Krishna has just mentioned. Krishna answers those questions one by one, beginning with text 55. Hearing about intelligence fixed Achal Buddhi in Samadhi, Arjuna now asks Krishna about the characteristics of such a yogi who is also called Sthita Pragya, one with fixed intelligence. Work performed without craving for results produced steadiness in knowledge, jnana nishta, also known as Sthita Pragyata. This is realization of Atma.
Yeah, so now understanding Krishna has finished talking about Buddhi Yoga. Now Arjuna, but in the last four verses, Krishna spoke about pure devotional service or something about what is that? About the Sthita Prajna, right? So therefore now, because in the last verse Krishna spoke about Achala Buddhi being fixed in intelligence or in Samadhi, now Arjuna asks about more about that particular thing, that how to become fixed in intelligence or what are the qualities of Sthita Prajna, right? So 54 to 72, the last section of this chapter basically deals with Sthita Prajna, right? Arjuna asks four questions in 54th verse, and Krishna explains all these or gives answers to these four questions in the remaining part of the section, right? So we'll just discuss this question and we'll stop, and maybe in next Saturday's class we'll continue and we'll finish this particular chapter in the next Saturday's class. Yeah. Sita Prajna, the qualities of a liberated soul, Jivan Mukta. Sita Prajna, the qualities of liberated soul. So these are Arjuna's question. Before that, we'll see this. Arjuna wants to know how to recognize the Sita Prajna, one in divine consciousness. He therefore asks, what are his symptoms? How does he speak? How does he sit? How does he walk? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that Arjuna's first question asks, how is one who is transcendently situated described? That is, how is Sita Prajna described? What are his characteristics? Krishna answers this first question in text 55. Although these questions seem to deal only with such a person's external behavior, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur reveals each question's internal meaning. Right. So, what are the four questions asked by Arjuna are here? Arjuna's questions about a Sthita Prajna, a self-realized soul, Jivan Mukta, one who is in Samadhi or divine consciousness. Right. So, and Lord Krishna's answers are mentioned in this particular side of this particular table. Right. What is the first question? Ka Bhasha. What are his general symptoms? And the answer is in text 2.55. Kim Prabhaseta, how does he speak? On receiving praise or blame, affection or hate, what will he see externally? What will he say externally or internally? That answer from Krishna is in 56th verse and 57th verse. Kim Asita, how does he sit? How does he restrain his senses from the sense objects? The answer to this is from 58 to 63. And Kim Rajeta, how does he walk? How does he respond to sense objects? The answer to this is in 64 to 71. So that completes the chapter. So remaining of the chapter is Arjuna's question about Sita Prajna, right? What are his general symptoms? How does he speak? How does he sit? And how does he walk? And remaining part of that section is, or remaining part of the chapter is Krishna's answers to Arjuna's four questions in 54th verse. So we will see the 54th verse. Arjuna Vacha Sita Prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sitadi kim pravaseta kim masita vrajeta kim. So ka bhasha, kim prabhaseta, kim asita, and vrajeta kim. Right. So these are the four questions that Arjuna asked. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? What is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk?" So this was Arjuna's question. So please read the purport.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, may I?
Yes, Prabhu, yes, please.
As there are symptoms for each and every man in terms of his particular situation, similarly, one who is Krishna conscious has his particular nature, talking, walking, thinking, feeling, etc. As a rich man has his symptoms by which he is known as a rich man. As a diseased man has his symptoms by which he is known as a diseased. Or as a learned man has his symptoms. So a man in transcendental consciousness of Krishna has specific symptoms in various dealing. One can know his specific symptoms from the Bhagavad Gita. Most important is how the man in Krishna consciousness speaks. For speech is the most important quality of any man. It is said that a fool is undiscovered as long as he does not speak. And certainly a well-dressed fool cannot be identified unless he speaks. But as soon as he speaks, he reveals himself at once. The immediate symptom of a Krishna conscious man is that he speaks only of Krishna and of matters relating to him. Other symptoms then automatically follows, as stated below.
Yeah. So these symptoms we'll be describing. Krishna will start answering text 55, that what are the symptoms. So here Prabhupada is explaining that if you want to know whether a person is Krishna conscious or not, you will understand by his consciousness and also how he speaks, right? As long as a person you will not understand, there are many fools who dress very nicely, right? But whether he's Krishna conscious or not, whether he's a great soul or not, you will understand only when he starts speaking. So unless and until it is said that a fool is undiscovered as long as it does not speak, and certainly a well-dressed fool cannot be identified unless he speaks. So therefore, we being Krishna conscious devotees, right? It is very important that we speak only Krishna conscious topics, right? We don't speak prajalpa. Otherwise, that if we start speaking prajalpa implies that we are actually fools, right? So therefore, if you want to tell to the public that I'm a fool, right, then what I should do is I should start speaking prajalpa. I should start gossiping about devotees. I should start speaking about mundane subject matters in the association of devotees, right? So therefore, better we don't start speaking all these things. Otherwise, people will understand that we are fools, right? So therefore, it is very, very important to understand that what I'm speaking and what I'm supposed to speak and what I'm not supposed to speak, right? So therefore, it's very, very important, right? So we'll stop here because from the remaining part is basically the characteristics and symptoms of Sthita Prajna. So we'll continue in the next class. If anybody has any questions here, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll stop. Yes, Abhishek, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I had two questions. Like, I need to clear these two questions, Prabhuji. In case of Bilva Mangal Thakur, Prabhuji, like Bilva Mangal Thakur, in previous birth, he was Brahmana and he performed some immoral activities and he got cursed. Like, in the name of Krishna consciousness, we can perform immoral activities, Prabhuji. That is, like, he do the theft of that princess one, jewel, and he did, you know that pastime, Prabhuji?
Where have you read today that being a devotee we can perform immoral activities? Where in Prabhupada?
No, Prabhuji. Like I heard from some devotee, Prabhuji, like Bilva Mangal Thakur pastimes, Prabhuji.
That you leave aside, but where in Prabhupada purports Prabhupada tells that you being a devotee you can perform immoral activities?
No, Prabhuji. That particular question I have, Prabhuji. That's why I need to clarify, Prabhuji.
Whether Prabhupada supports this, what you're telling?
No, Prabhuji. Being a devotee, I can't do that immoral activity, Prabhuji. Like, that's why he got cursed now, Prabhuji. That's why he got cursed now, Prabhuji. Bilva Mangal Thakur got cursed from princess also, from that princess, and like you need to take a birth and all those things. Like he got cursed from that princess also now, Prabhuji.
No, Bilva Mangal Thakur's life story that we know that this thing, but I have not heard about this particular that he stole, he got a curse or something like that. I don't know from where you are telling this.
I heard from one devotee, Prabhuji.
No,
one devotee means like was sitting on Vyasasan and sitting on Vyasasan and they explained
I'll
this
just clarify your doubt. Nowhere Prabhupada tells that being a devotee we can perform immoral activities. So we are followers of Srila Prabhupada. Nowhere our spiritual master tells that being a devotee we can perform immoral activities, right? And here also we understand that Krishna is telling that we have to remain free from abominable activities. What we are supposed to do? We are supposed to chant Hare Krishna mantra, 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra, follow 4 regulative principles, right? So all abominable activities should be kept aside, and we should try to become more and more refined in our consciousness, right? So if we perform immoral activities, then what will happen is we have to again take birth, right? Whatever devotional service we perform will be intact, right? But whatever sinful activities we do, for that we have to pay the reaction, heavy reactions, right? Because it is told na, that if a policeman does some thievery or does some abominable activity in the uniform, then he will be given much more stronger punishment than a normal person. Similarly, now we are acting as agents of God. We are actually men of Vaikuntha, right? Because we are representing Srila Prabhupada, we are representing Golok Vrindavan, right? So in the garb of a person who is wearing dhoti kurta or wearing tilak and kanti mala, if we perform sinful reaction, then 10 times will be punished more than what a normal person will be punished. So therefore, it is very important that we behave very morally. We understand what is the behavior of a devotee, and accordingly we follow that.
And Prabhuji, in case of Sadhan Kasai, Prabhuji, Sadhan Kasai was doing this butcher activities, but finally, he got but for performing butcher activities, and he is surrendering like whatever that.
What is your question?
Sadhan Kasai, you heard that?
No,
He was performing this butcher activity.
So-
Butcher activities na Prabhuji, like meat shop and all this. He was keeping meat shop, and he finally, like whatever results he are getting, he is surrendering for Lord Jagannath.
You can try, and you should be ready to face the reaction also.
You know, Prabhuji, finally he got liberation
See,
na Prabhuji from Lord Jagannath.
asking questions is good, but we should also understand what is the actual path for a ISKCON devotee.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Do you want to go in the wrong direction and face the reaction?
No, Prabhuji. Like just I'm asking Prabhuji, like Sadhan Kasai.
So you being a ISKCON devotee, you know the answers, bro. We are not supposed to do any abominable activity. We are supposed to follow 4 regulative principles. If we break 4 regulative principles, if we do any abominable activity in the name of being Krishna conscious devotee, in the name of telling that Lord will protect us, we have to face the reaction. It is for sure.
Okay, Prabhuji.
There may be some exceptions here and there. Like for example, Ajamil was there. He performed till the age of 80. He performed many sinful activities, and he chanted one name of Narayana. Once he chanted Narayana, and he was liberated. But in taking example of that, I cannot tell that whole of my I will perform sinful reactions and I will just chant Narayana at the time of death and will go back to God. No.
Okay.
Ajamila's case was an exception. And Ajamila had to perform 13 years of penance in Haridwar, and then he went back to Koret, right? So exceptions cannot be taken as the ideal path for our devotional service. We have been given an ideal path by Srila Prabhupada, getting up early in the morning, chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, following 4 regular principles, taking everyday prasad. So our path is very much fixed. And if we follow that, right, we'll go back to Koret. If we deviate from that, then again we may have to come back again, take birth, and after 10,000 years, there may not be any ISKCON, there may not be any devotees. Alone, we have to struggle hard to go back to God. Therefore, path is very fixed for ISKCON devotee. If we follow that, we'll surely go back to God.
Okay.
Is this okay, Prabhu?
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you. Okay,
Yes.
Prabhuji. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. If you do not have any questions, then we'll continue in the next class, next Saturday and Sunday. Next Saturday we'll complete, and then we'll continue with the 3rd chapter. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.